here's our completed 3D print. So follower again goes into the female half, which you can see here. It's a hole in the bottom. This just goes right on in down like that until the peg is flush with the bottom of the female side. My only thing I would probably change in the next revision is this is a little bit too small for the average finger, so you got to use something like a screwdriver to finish the job there, but not a big deal. And then of course the male half, right on like that. This is really solid. So I'd have no qualms using a floor jack, a vise, anything like that if I had to get that last little bit. But anyway, we're gonna test this out now. I'll see you in the kitchen and we'll mix up a couple batches of wood pulp stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and whip up the bisquettes now. I've got two different recipes that I found online. I just consolidated them here into just one page. One of them is gonna be using sawdust or just maybe smaller sized wood chips. And then the other one is using generic pellets, which you might find in something like a Traeger type of pellet smoker. So I'm gonna actually try both. I've got these wood chips here. This is, I think, a 2-pound, maybe it's a 4-pound bag. Anyway, I didn't want to commit to the whole 40-pound bag that I showed before, just in case, you know, it ends up not being worth it. But we'll start with that. These are mesquite. And then for the pellets, I've got some Traeger, it's a Traeger blend. I couldn't tell you exactly what the woods are, but anyway, I know they're good pellets. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the sawdust recipe. So it looks like it's asking us to, well, first actually it says 2024 bisquettes. I'm gonna cut this recipe in half just to, you know, make it easier. I'm probably gonna make a mistake the first time, but essentially what it has us doing is mixing together the sawdust and some potato starch here. Potato starch, I just grabbed this. This was only a couple dollars, maybe $5 or something. Mix that dry, and then you're essentially just gonna add in some boiling water. The boiling water will quickly react with the potato starch to make a gel, kind of a goop. That's gonna be the binder. So the idea is that that's gonna allow the bisquette to hold its shape just like the Bradley bisquettes do. Anyway, you can pause the video and read the instructions, take a screenshot if you want, but I'm gonna move on to the other one with these generic pellets. And it's a similar idea. This guy is saying that when you mix boiling water with these pellets, it softens them up into a pulp, just kind of like a paste almost. At that point, he's saying to use cornstarch as the binding agent, which you mix separately with boiling water, and then you combine the two. So I've got some cornstarch over there. I'm not going to film myself actually doing this. I think I'm going to need two hands to do so, and it would be kind of boring anyway. It's really simple. We're mixing together 3 ingredients. So let me go ahead, put the phone down, and I'll come back after I've done the first batch, which will be the sawdust. Right, I've got the potato starch added into the wood chips. Again, I did cut the recipe in half, and I'm just gonna do my best to kind of merge this all together. The potato starch really is just disappearing into it, so never really worked with potato starch before. I think that's good. Looks about good right there. All right, I'm gonna give this a good stir and we'll come back. Seems pretty well stirred to me. I've got it pretty much homogeneous. There's no more dry pockets or anything left. What you do at this point is, of course, we're gonna fill the press. And what I'm gonna do is, I read online that they say about a 1/4 cup is kind of your target. A little bit less is probably okay. A thinner bisquette isn't gonna hurt because, as we know, a lot of times when it pushes the next bisquette out, there's still a lot of wood remaining on the previous one. So you'll get a little bit less waste if you go a little bit lighter on the amount to go in. I'm just gonna dump this right in. This is hand on my heart, the very first time that I've used this and done any of this. So hopefully this first take that I'm doing right now is gonna be good enough. No serious issues or anything that makes me have to rethink it. But I've gone ahead and put the male part in, and it looks like there's still a little bit of a gap, which is good. It means we're making pressure. What I'm going to do is actually just I'm just going to stand on it. Oh yeah, it's bottomed out. Okay. Let's take the male half out and see what we have. Might need two hands, guys. Yeah, 1 second. All right, there we go. This came off nice and cleanly. Oh yeah, familiar looking consistency there. And then we'll push the follower out. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use this grate here. Let's get a screwdriver. Okay, so that should be it. There's the follower. Let's go ahead. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry if it's not focusing very well. I'm gonna let this dry. Just move under some better light. Yeah, that looks beautiful. Let me get a real biscuit and we'll do a little side by side. I think I have some right down here. Yeah. So as far as our diameter and thickness, that's pretty much on the money. So I can do that. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so that's a thumbs up so far. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these, and then we'll move over to the Traeger pellet and cornstarch one, see how good that is. So I used up all of the mixture and I got 11. They all look really, really nice. So that's pretty much exactly what I was expecting. This said it would make 20 to 24. I cut the recipe in half, so that makes exactly 11. That's exactly what I got. I'm gonna go ahead and let these dry, and then we'll start on the next batch featuring the pellets. So that was way easier than I expected. I just boiled 1.5 cups of water in here, added in my 1 cup of pellets, and this was after maybe 30 seconds of stirring it up. I'm not seeing any more big chunks of the pellets. It all came right apart. So that was easy. I'm gonna go ahead and do the cornstarch binder. I'm gonna dump this back into there, get that gelled together, and then add it in, and then we'll make some biscuits out of it. Well, compared to the sawdust batch, this is definitely a little bit more watery and gloopy. I noticed there's a lot more water added. So this might cause a little bit of a mess in the little press we made over here, but we're gonna give it a go anyway. All right, I just started pressing the first one, and I want you to see this. This is why I added these little weep holes in the top. So when I press this down, I want to do this in a area where you don't mind if it gets a little dirty. Nice. Okay, the halves are separated. That's in there. Do the same thing. I'm just gonna place this guy on the rack and then just press out the follower. Might need to. There. How's that look? It's not bad. Might be a little bit tall. I need to measure it and see if it's gonna be okay. I probably just need to add a little bit less mixture in, maybe a little bit less than 1/4 cup so that they're shorter, but let's see. Yeah, he's gonna have to go back. We'll try that again, using a little bit less. So I've got this wrapped up here. Unfortunately, there was a cost. It's going to be more cleanup than the first method, but nonetheless, we've got 12. They look pretty sharp, except for a few that started to crumble away. I'm not really sure if... I'm just going to, for science, I'm going to just use them anyway. I may as well. But I think my preference was definitely the first method with the sawdust. This was just a little bit too soupy and it made a mess. The weep holes worked really well. There's I think 6. They're really small. It's hard to see them with the water on it, and if my phone could focus, that would also really help. There's 6 small weep holes there, and then on the female side, there's bigger weep holes. Fluid was shot out of both halves when I was doing this. I guess that is a positive thing about this method, was that I didn't have to ever use my my leg or a vise or anything like that to compress it. Because it's a wetter mixture, I could do everything right here on the countertop and just press down with 2 hands and it would pop out just like that. But yeah, obviously you get a little bit of a mess to go with it. So what I would do in the future, personally, because I do have a big bag of Traeger pellets, would just be to maybe mix that up with some starch. I'd probably use the potato starch. It seemed to do a better job at holding it together. Anyway, I'd mix that up and then put it that whole dry mixture right into some boiling water, maybe 1.5 cups to 1 cup of the pellets and 1 tablespoon of the potato starch, and just do it all in here, because it's going to be less water, less mess, and it'll have a fluffier, drier mix compared to this. You won't have water shooting out everywhere.